I know what movie you guys are going to see today. Let There Be Carnage. Go ahead and go see it yourself. Why not talk about Eddie Brock Venom some more? He's one of those characters that's had a lot of different evolutions over the years. Some of these modes ended up becoming like his temporary modes, like the normal basic Venom, and then you got the Toxin evolution, then you have the Anti-Venom, which I'm going to go over in this video. I've gone over them in the past as well, though. Surprisingly, Marvel recently has been given a lot of symbiote love when it comes to the Null event. Venom was he was pretty much the hero in that event, you know what I'm saying? Heck, he even had forms like this from the War of the Realms where he got like the magical Dreamstone to enchant him with weapons. One could say magic Venom, you know, that type of thing. And let's not forget, which I'm going to show later on in this vid, then he had one form where he became Legion, aka became so strong where he even joined the Hulkish tiers. Yes, I'm going to go over that later on in this vid. Yes, there was a time where Venom actually got so powerful, he joined the Hulk Juggernaut levels of raw power during the Null event and all that good stuff. Then one can say he even surpassed all that. All right, you know what? Let me just get right into it. He became like the God of Light and all that good stuff. Captain Universe and all that madness. So even if you've seen my other Venom videos, you still want to check this one out.
Then you've probably seen him in a lot of Spider-Man content, seen him fighting Spider-Man in multiple forms of media, seen him fighting him in the comics or either Spider-Man the animated series, or even the fact that Venom got a live action movie out of all the villains. And he's a really interesting character and not just a pure evil being that's got no substance. He's an interesting character that actually often becomes good here and there to serve his own purpose. His rivalry with Spider-Man is legendary, and his fights with Spider-Man is even more legendary. And one of the reasons why he is so impressive, due to the fact how impressive Spider-Man is, but yet he tosses Spider-Man around like a rag doll on a daily basis. But how strong is Venom? Well, let's find out. Along with pretty much having all the abilities of Spider-Man, he also gets some stuff that Spider-Man doesn't have, such as being bulletproof, having the suit help him regenerate faster than normal, and can pretty much shapeshift his body and limbs into blades and hammers or whatever he sees fit to help him fight even more. And he can even stretch his body to even further convenience his battle fighting tactics. Not to mention he's immune to his spider sense, and he has ridiculous combat speed and raw strength on his own. Despite not being on the level of characters like Juggernaut, he is still strong enough to punch him through several stories, showing that he can pretty much punch with the force to be able to punch a being through a building, basically. Even though he couldn't really harm Juggernaut or really can't do much to Juggernaut, the fact he's able to do this lets you know that his level of strength is pretty insane. Pretty much able to punch him to the ground. Pretty cool. Even though he does not scale to Juggernaut though. His striking power is so insane, he was able to actually destroy a part of a building. He can literally focus his symbiote to certain limbs of his body, punching out of solid brick walls. Smashes through the ceiling of a 747 jetliner. Strong enough to cut or cleave metal cyborgs in half. He has consistently shown to get the advantage over Spider-Man, outspeed him, overpower him physically, and even smash his head into concrete. Can punch through metal doors. Strong enough to pretty much create a shockwave with his hit, being able to do like his own ground smash type maneuver while fighting a giant monster, and you can clearly see the size difference between him. Despite the monster eating him, he is still strong enough to bust his way out with raw strength alone, despite the monster having the clear size advantage, showing that size isn't everything depending on the opponent. Another fight of him getting the advantage over Spider-Man. Punch through solid rock. Is strong enough to tear apart an armored vehicle. Another fight of him pretty much getting the advantage over Spider-Man himself, a being that has ridiculously insane strength feats for his tier and has ridiculous speed feats, some even debatably faster than light feats, even though he's able to blitz him on occasion multiple times. Actually able to punch a powerhouse from good distance. Nova is a ridiculously high powerhouse, a being that fights Thor and Hulk level beings, and he's able to send him flying. Not trying to scale him to him or anything, because I don't think he's actually on his level, but this is still impressive nonetheless, just sending him flying in general. One benefit of actually being Venom is the fact that his combat speed is insane, being able to react and catch bullets with his mouth and can shoot them back. Shown he actually can fight Spider-Man yet again. Lifts and pours a water tower. He has multiple feats of him lifting bulldozers. Lifts a huge truck. Shown to be able to lift a bulldozer yet again, while severely weakened and not even at his fullest potential due to the symbiote not even being fully consumed on him. He's able to support the weight of a falling Ferris wheel. This is a 100-ton feat at least. Strong enough to tear a large tree in half. One could say that Spider-Man's web is about as strong as Spider-Man physically. Venom is easily able to bust out of Spider-Man's web by just simply expanding his symbiote. There was even that time where Spider-Man using both arms couldn't overpower Venom using one arm. There was that time where Venom actually broke out of Iceman's ice. Please note that Iceman's ice has stabbed beings like Thor. Don't believe me, Google it. He actually stabbed beings like Thor with his ice. Not saying this is Iceman's most lethal ice or his coldest ice ever against Venom, but breaking out of any version of Iceman's ice due to his track record and history of Iceman and the fact that he's an Omega level mutant is insane and impressive. Naturally, Venom has insane combat speed, being able to catch and react to bullets even after they are past him. That shows some insane travel speed at the moment, because as you can see here, he traveled a short distance to be able to do this. able to react to bullets. Even after a ton of bullets are shot at him, he's able to block every single one of them with his symbiote. There's a time he was able to catch and react to, yes right, even shotgun blast. As you can see here, he got in the way of them very fast. Easily shown to be able to toy with Spider-Man, even when Spider-Man is ant by his symbiote himself. Still showing that he's pretty much superior still to him. Not only that, he's not only shown to have the advantage over Spider-Man or Peter Parker himself, but also Miles Morales as Spider-Man. He's able to get the overhand over Spider-Man like always. He even states something crazy. He even states that Spider-Man is moving to slow motion to him. This is insane. And it's not an exaggeration considering this actual fight in particular and the fights in particular in the past. So it does have some meaning to it. There's been many occasions where it shows Venom is bulletproof. Even when he's not trying to like avoid or catch the bullets with his symbiote, he just takes them full on. One of the things that makes him different than Spider-Man and unique is the fact that he can shapeshift his tendrils, pretty much make weapons and blades, kind of like a Green Lantern construct. Not on that level, but you get the point. Able to use claws to cut things up with razor sharp talons. There's that time he was even able to shield Punisher from bullets by extending his symbiote to help others out. It's a unique defensive thing. One of the cool things is his shapeshifting allows him to glide. So by now, I think it's safe to say that Venom is extremely strong. While it may seem like Venom is unstoppable, he does not scale to super big powerhouses to like characters like the Hulk. The thing about Venom is that he scales way, way stronger than characters like Captain America, Kingpin, Batman, Nightwing, and etc. Did you know he was this strong? Believe it or not, there was a time where Eddie Brock had thought his symbiote was evil. So he wanted to atone of his sins of his past. Eddie began to work at a soup kitchen owned by Martin Lee, and you know where this is going. Eddie didn't know that Martin Lee was supervillain at the time known as Mr. Negative. To Eddie Brock's surprise, there were still traces of symbiote in his DNA. The symbiote that remained reacted weirdly to an interaction with Martin Lee. So when he came into contact with Venom again, aka Matt Gargan at the time, in this occasion you can see, look how Matt Gargan Venom looks with his eyes. I know it looks creepy. And as you can see, it interacted weirdly, turning him into anti-venom. Yeah, got the little wipe, kind of like Mr. Negative, you know what I'm saying? The antibodies of the symbiote, they actually study, it is stated here, it's made up of human, alien, hybrid antibodies. This Venom is back to his insane self. One of his main abilities that makes him so dangerous compared to other symbiotes is his power negation ability. He believed he was on a holy mission to like heal the world from powers and stuff. He's a beast and he would get like raged out moment. This is one of those temporary power-ups, so he doesn't stay like this all the time. You know, he eventually lost while curing those affected by Jackal's spider plague and returned to plain old Eddie Brock. He's basically Venom on crack, like whatever Venom can do, like normal Eddie Brock black suit Venom can do, this suit can do better. He's just stronger to every degree. So them other feats that Venom can do should be taken into consideration, like stopping a big oil rig, destroying metal doors, tearing apart an armored vehicle, smashing through the ceiling of a jetliner, smashing through thick brick walls, destroys part of a building, punches through the head of a giant monster, shattering the floor with a two-handed strike, kind of like a shockwave, swiping cars in half, casually lifts a water tower that had to weigh at least 40 tons, lifts up bulldozers or tanks, lifts up large truck, lifts this big rig. When he was weakened, able to hold a collapsing Ferris wheel, tears large trees in half, tears through large steel doors, collapsing two pillars, and all that stuff that normal Venom can do, anti-Venom should be able to do that or even better. So that's just a benchmark on how strong anti-Venom is, right? He has to get in physical contact to negate folks' abilities, and after he touches them, he has to be near them. And if they get far away, they can get their powers back though. But it states he can't take away his powers permanently if it's long enough exposure. It states here, I can't let his claws into me or he'll cure me, take away my powers for good. Like pieces of his GUI that is off of him can literally like negate your powers as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be him on you all the time. He literally does this to the other Venom, weakens him by touching him. Almost depowers Spider-Man in their fights. It's like a walking hacks, man. It states here, my strength, my speed, everything is cutting in and out. Almost like he can negate radiation because Spider-Man's power is based on radiation or being exposed to radiation. A guy that's power is based on being exposed to chemicals, he was able to negate radioactive man abilities as well. Just an absolute beast. I don't know how you're able to negate a character like Songbird's abilities, even though her powers is based on cybernetic enhancements. One of the victims of the Spider Island got his powers negated permanently. Yeah, that was this big Spider Island event where everybody got like, a lot of people got spider powers. But yeah, he cures many Spider Island victims at once. Legit crazy. Find this hilarious that there's people that actually want to stay spider-like. They state, no man, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Some people had drastically jacked up looking bodies. He like literally cured them, returned them back to the normal bodies and everything. Kind of seems like these folks appreciate him though. Kind of getting religious up in here, ain't it? One of the best ways to figure out Venom's power is Spider-Man's strength. Look what Spider-Man can do lifting up this heavy stuff. 30-ton train carts he can flick with a freaking finger. And Spider-Man can indeed lift 60-ton tanks. Anti-Venom or Venom should be able to do this or more easily. Most Spider-Man characters are above the 100 tons lifting power levels. By the way, he's just full-blown completely bulletproof, not even fire, and bullets will cut it. Oh yeah, this is occasional Punisher, battle feat. Sorry, Punisher. Fighting speed to react and block bullets. He can make like shape-shifting little shields. I'm gonna get to that. Occasional Punisher. He took a sonic beam from Songbird. He was pretending to be Spider-Man. Yeah. He got hit with a blast set off bomb in the city, a baby atomic bomb by Songbird. Endured it. Oh yeah, by the way, he's physically strong enough to lift up cars. That's no surprise, right? Strong enough to manhandle super soldier tiers like Punisher. Yeah, that's right. Punisher is super soldier tier. And when it comes to just raw strength, he can casually crack concrete by ripping into the ground here in this occasion, healing folk. That one time he smashed 2 hollow statues of Mr. Negative because he can just strike that hard. By the way, he was slinging Mr. Negative around in this occasion. Of course, he can tear through the hood of a car and just ragdolling Spider-Man around with him in battle feat. Yeah. Large metal doors. He is strong enough to kick down. Yeah, he's pretending to be Spider-Man here. He's strong enough to smash a motorcycle into pieces. Battlefield with Spider-Man. Look how hard he's able to manhandle Spider-Man. Like I showed this earlier, but look, the ground is cracking beneath them. Even larger chunks of concrete getting indentured, like big old fists too. Large vehicles get striked over. Sling one. It's just easy work to him. And lifting these cars ain't nothing. He manhandled Venom, Matt Gargan. Just an occasion of raw strength. I know I already showed this earlier about the fit of rage, but by the way, he ripped a man in half, just raw strength. As fast as Spider-Man is, Spider-Man literally can't evade him, but a part of it is because of the fact that he negates powers when he touches it, but he can't negate it if he hasn't touched you before. So for Spider-Man to have problems still reacting to him shows his speed. Nothing different in Marvel. He jumps fast enough to evade gunfire. You can see he's there, and then boom, he's gone. Speed. He can transform into his mode and then quickly catch up to a car in raw, like travel speed. Jumps on top of it, rips it open like I showed earlier, but I'm mainly highlighting the speed here. Even a group of folk with Spider-Man's abilities can't just simply avoid him. And this is the occasion I showed him curing him. He just blitzing all of them. He's implied to be faster than Punisher, in this occasion blocking these attacks, saves them in the process. I mean, there was one time he was even distracted and he blocked a surprise attack from Punisher. Just to give you an idea of his speed, when he runs, you can see like the little clouds of smoke behind him, implying raw, just sprinting speed. I remember that one time he blitzed a group of inner demons who have some decent superhuman speed in their own right. They get blitzed. Most symbiotes can increase their attack power by increasing their mass, like making his fist gigantic in this occasion, fighting Venom. Remember that he lengthened his fingers into like little small blades, kind of. Has like his own little version of webbing, as you can see, like normal Venom does. Can do like some Mr. Fantastic stuff by stretching his arm. Extends a tentacle, webs Gargan up with his hands because he can. He can use his symbiote as like literal projectiles. He can make a shield to block bullets. He can impale people with his tongue as well, and even his tentacles. He can even pick a lot with his tentacles, trying to be sneaky. Over here disguising himself as one of Osborn's staff members. Disguises himself as a homeless man as well. He even escaped a group of enemies by mimicking them. I think people underestimate symbiotes' regeneration. Like, he literally got his head splattered, like the literal Eddie Brock guts coming out. But as you can see, he's freaking fine. I mean, he regenerated after being infected by a particular poison, like a super toxin, implying thousands of people could have died from this super toxin. Battlefield, Mr. Negative himself, they stated, but I can heal shotgun wounds in seconds. Last panel, I just showed you him getting stabbed. He was able to heal that wound relatively quick. Stated that he could heal Spider-Man's wounds or cuts for him. He states, I could heal you. No, thank you. My webbing's doing a nice job. So he can identify diseases now with saliva. He cleanses heroin from a woman's veins, by the way. I already talked about this earlier with the fight with Matt Gargan Venom. In a slugfest, Spider-Man joins in. As you can see, they fight some more. Wait, they put Spider-Man so they can slug it out on their own. Scraps it out, tossed that car already, extended fashion. Other folk trying to get involved, but they not having it. This part I showed earlier about the giant fist, working together, drains them, weakens them, and that's how you got the W there. Anti-Venom has also gotten a battle with Agent Venom, basically a Spider-Man tier super soldier. Oh my gosh, the government actually tried to make a super soldier spider being and succeeded, Flash Thompson. They fight out in this occasion, slugfest going through the window. tries to drain him of his disease. He says, sickness, I'm the cure. But it's not as easy as it seems to just cure him. He's fighting back. The agent operative, he can make claws, symbiotic things as well, does that. And that kind of went left. Yeah, symbiotes that be getting on Eddie be wanting to bond with Eddie. States here, we are returned. I know this isn't necessarily anti-Venom, but this is what Spider-Man had to say. It was just about normal Venom. It states that Venom has all my powers and more muscle. So it's like him 2.0. Oh yeah, and by the way, there was an agent anti-Venom, but that might be a topic for another discussion. During the events of Null, they was trying to make some like battle suit that was immune to the Null creature's mental command. Here you can get an example of it here. Like it's literally wearable battle armor combined with other stuff. Tell me that ain't epic. Don't lie. Respect it. I would say slightly above his standard self, but the main thing that makes him a threat is his negation powers ability to be able to cleanse things, thanks to being similar to Mr. Negative.
There's this being known as Toxin, who's basically the offspring of the famous symbiote known as Carnage, and is the 1000th generation of its line. Something that you probably don't know is that this fact alone makes Toxin far, far stronger than any of his ancestors, with an unfortunate disposition towards madness. It even states here, by the 1000th generation, the chances for a psychotic breakdown are great, unless the grandparent can educate the child in the ancient way of symbiote. You guys already know the deal about symbiotes, right? They are an alien race that combine physically and mentally with members of another species to amplify their host's physical power and give them a number of other useful abilities and etc. An example would be as the human that Toxin bonds to is very important to its sanity. Thankfully, the very first human that Toxin encountered was a sane, responsible police officer named Pat Mulligan. You're probably wondering who that is. I'm going to go over his feats in this video as well. Pat used Toxin to help fight crime, both natural and supernatural, but he was eventually killed by the demon Blackheart. He was stolen, used as a component for a ritual intended to bring hell to Earth. It was then recovered by Eddie Brock, you know, the former host for Venom. I've done videos on as well. There was a time where Eddie was actually trying to hunt down and get rid of symbiote, but once the symbiote bonded with him, oh yeah, they had an altercation with new agent Venom. Yeah, imagine Eddie Brock working as an FBI agent. But you guys know the saying goes, old habits are not far behind, so when he fused with Toxin, he ended up working with Toxin just as closely as he did the original Venom. But before I go to Eddie Brock stuff, let me go over Patrick Mulligan's first. But before I even get to either of them, as Patrick, the symbiote known as Toxin is powerful, but due to the fact that him and Toxin have internal disagreements, he's only able to access maybe a fraction of Toxin's power. Still, even that, transform, he still can dodge bullets, catch a falling baby, reflexes. He can easily dodge attacks from Carnage. He's physically above characters like Black Cat and Raw, strength, stopping kicks from her and everything, etc. He's able to combat Spider-Man fast enough to catch Spider-Man off guard. Spider-Man has crazy combat speed and spider sense, so that's pretty fast of him. He's literally this close to a train, but his reflex is able to react before he gets hit by the train. I mean, there was one time with Razor Fist, he just smashed him out of the window, transformed instantaneously. One could say power up. He can do shapeshifting. You see the little claws in his arm. Oh, by the way, Razor Fist claw can't and will not harm him, by the way. Just durability gives you an idea of his level of power. And of course, automatic gunfire bounces off of him. Battle feats are everything when it comes to fighting other symbiotes. He was like literally able to overpower, some would say, the strongest symbiote, or some would call it. You know, there's a lot of powerful symbiotes, like, you know, anti-Venom, you can go into debate or whatever. He kind of overpowered Carnage. Toxin's that strong. When it comes to bank stuff, like I literally showed you them bullets bouncing off of him. He goes through the floor. He literally smashed through the floor of a bank and then attacks enemies by smashing the floor in their direction. Isn't that impressive? Does this to King Cobra, smashes the wall behind him. Does the same thing to the floor of an apartment. The Agile can jump to the side of buildings, stick on walls, you know, the spider type stuff. He literally threw Carnage, like in a battle feat, across the city. It's like he made him into a stream. That's how hard he was able to sling him around. Let that sink in. When it comes to the Wrecking Crew, Toxin's so powerful they even take them out, taking out one of the members of the Wrecking Crew. I swear, I would do a video about the Wrecking Crew, man, but Marvel does not know what power ranges they want these guys at. I mean, in the past, he's taken on characters like Iron Man, the Wrecker, so that just gives you an idea of why doing this to beings like this is impressive. He can easily take down Razor Fist, might I add, by the way, like you're subdued. This dude Toxin fought Venom and Carnage at the same dang time. And this isn't even Eddie Brock yet. Yep, you are looking at this correctly. Just like other symbiotes, he has stretching ability and shapeshifting. That's just common stuff that I've shown in my other previous symbiote vids. He has like some sort of tracking ability that lets him track people by the proximity. But enough of that stuff. Let's jump right to the Eddie Brock feats as Toxin. Let's go. Toxin and Eddie are so bonded together that they nearly act as one. They kind of act different in the way Patrick did. because let's face it, Eddie's more of a main type of character. Let's face it. Naturally, Eddie as Toxin is able to fight other symbiotic type characters like Agent Venom, blitzing him here with tendrils. He can transform on the spot to save folk from rubble that quick, throws them there. That one time move the woman out of the way of an explosion real quick. He can make different limbs of himself if he has to. The stretching, shape-shifting stuff. He took on a whole horde of lizard people. Cool battle feat, fighting multiple folk, getting stabbed here. Doesn't really matter. I mean, think about it. I already showed you how Venom type characters can heal the host and even regenerate. And their regeneration is underrated. He's gotten a fight with Agent Venom, kind of overpowered. Agent Venom, even though they had like a little slug type of fast, lifting up cars, strength, slams it on top of them, explosion. Shockwaves rip cars in half with his strength. Gunfire doesn't really do too much, can regenerate on the spot. Symbiote type characters. Making blades from Toxin, stretching his arms, can multitask, grab different folks with his tendrils while he's doing something else, even though he's behind him here. You got to respect it. Even got his arm cut off. Impales him here. Toxin is no joke. Appears to grow in size if he needs to be more intimidating. He was able to completely destroy mega tech like this. This might be one of his most impressive feats because in the past this guy has fought evenly with Thor. Oh my goodness, these writers did not know how strong these guys are. Like, you know what? Yeah, but yeah. Toxin's able to tear open a metal door, able to restrain man, wolf, gots to respect it. He lifted tons of falling rocks and lifts the people up to help him in the process. Durability-wise, bullets do not hurt him. Of course, he has regeneration, gets impaled by a cyborg, but you already know symbiotes have insane healing factors, right? He takes a hit from a group of clone carnages. Like, bruh, that's a lot. It made it seem like they was actually doing significant damage to him, but it was all just an act. Those guys are cannon fodder. They're puppets. I like the sound when they squish. Like, look at all this many. Heck is going on, get off of me. There's one time he even teamed up with Agent Venom. Awesome symbiotic crossovers. Respect it. Y'all trying to chop me up. I regenerate, bite your head. Y'all get slammed, working together with Venom. Agent Venom and him working together. Characters like Agent Venom describe him as 10 feet tall, but it's implied he can change his size because in this example, he's definitely much taller than 10 feet like, compared to these normal humans. Toxin by itself is pretty strong. Agent Venom even said it right here, even stronger than me. Like the time Agent Venom exploited his weakness to fire, but yet he still was able to survive. Chop. Slicing as such. He had to retrieve Eddie process, right? And he's also fought Venom before. I'm talking about Toxin by itself without Eddie Brock, aka they're better with hosts, but he was able to survive attacks from him because he's kind of liquidy, so, you know. Being a symbiotic type character and being one of those characters where he didn't stay like this long, he doesn't have many showings, but his showings are pretty concrete that he's a pretty decent gap, stronger than the average symbiotes, like even Carnage and even some of the best symbiotes out there. This is impressive because Spider-Man type characters can lift 60 plus tons with ease and even have shown to have occasions of lifting over hundreds of tons, even though these two pictures I'm showing you right here aren't necessarily hundreds of tons or nothing. But, you know, my Spider-Man videos can help you understand why these characters are so strong because of his fights with Spider-Man in the past. Whatever Venom can do, normally this version of him can do better. So you got to look at my other Venom videos from the past to really get an idea of how strong he is as well, like this. Not to mention that his battle feats imply a writer intent for where they want him to be. Writer intent is everything. Toxin has feats of overpowering Agent Venom, casually overpowering Carnage, like casually. Without transforming, he can overpower characters like Black Cat, who are super soldier-ish. Venom and Carnage simultaneously. So he pretty much proved why he is on a certain level of power. It's not an exaggeration that he was the king of these symbiotes, basically. And it's not an exaggeration that he's the top dog of these symbiotes, even above Venom and Carnage. Remember what Spider-Man literally said out of his own mouth about normal Venom. This Toxin is above normal Venom. That was evident when he overpowered Agent Venom, right? He stated here, Venom has all of my powers and more muscle, like I showed in the past. There was this one comic where he got involved with a character like Malekith. Yeah, I'm going back to what I mentioned very beginning of the video about this so-called magic Venom with the Dreamstone amp type of thing, weapon he desires type of thing. This is kind of relatively new content, War of the Realms type stuff. You know, see Venom using the sword, you get it, epic. They explained it here. That's how he became like this different looking Venom. That's why it looks different. This Dreamstone, quite rare and highly prized, he stated. They give life to dreams, to desires, to fears. This one, of course, has been attuned to a specific purpose, weapons. It states it literally knows the weapon that you want and you shall have it. Take the stone and you will receive it. He said, well, this is different, the same but different. Like, he looks all different with all these spikes in him, you know, looking magical. You know what I'm saying? Seems to still be able to web sling and all that fun stuff. In this state, he still can do like the similar stuff, like making extra tendrils, fighting these bigger beings, like literally ripped his head off with one of his strikes, implied to be able to blitz, chopping heads off like that because of this Dreamstone. Yep, 60-ton tanks he lifts up even in newer stuff. That's over 10 tons, guys. He can slam it with ease. Uses this axe and then shows his striking power by slicing this tank in half. Is that strength or what? The suit can still react to him, even in this occasion, like the fact that he caught the arrows mid-flight with tendrils, then shoots it back. Yikes, he's dead. He's even took attacks from Jack-O-Lantern. Fought characters like the Jack-O-Lantern in a full-blown fight. It states more lore about this symbiote. This is not really the real symbiote. It literally is an elven artifact that gave himself the suit of his dreams. So basically Venom again, you know. More minion folks get sliced because I'm Venom. Heck, this Venom even encountered frost giants, for Pete's sake. This magical Venom that he's bestowed with, it even shows his past stuff. It says, you can feel the magic surging through him, through the bones, plumbing my psyche, my memories for whatever it was that made Venom Venom. And I feel it, not just the magic stretching, my frame breaking and healing my bones 1,000 times over in a second. All the pain, the hate, jealousy, humiliation, betrayal, that'll work. It's like he's kind of getting powered up in the middle of the fight here. Heck, he even grew in size. Head slice, vice grip, stabs him from the back, making like literally sharp objects from his back. Can just make himself have a whole bunch of limbs. Hammett's too much fun, and Jack-O-Lantern still fighting him more. He still has all his weaknesses from the other Venom suit, even though he technically doesn't have the suit on right here. Even though he's technically magical, he's hurt from fire, and the suit is even evolved thanks to his mind to heal, and then gave himself as Guardian armor to help him even further. Like, look at this. Jack-O-Lantern was kind of going crazy. He was about to turn the entire city into ash. Just to let you know of the threat that Venom was fighting here. See how the axe looked normal here? It seemed like he can amp it magically, like that. New suit, a witch's gift. You know, but Jack's amp too. I like seeing Venom use axes. Seems to be okay after being stabbed against Jack-O-Lantern in the battlefield. Them two fighting it out. Fight keeps escalating even more. Just when you thought the stages of him powering up was over, it gets even worse. Yep. In this new state of power, he can even share it thanks to the Dreamstone being able to do whatever your imagination wills it to be, because he wanted to save all these people from getting burned into ash thanks to Jack-O-Lantern burning up everything. So that's when he did that. He didn't want to lose that much life, so he said, I'm just going to use the Dreamstone to make everyone get protected in a suit of armor. All the citizens were protected with durability that helps them be able to survive. They even state, we are Venom. With this new magical Venom Dreamstone, he was able to overpower him at the end of the day. What it seems to be a lightning bolt. Dreamstone gets casted out of him, and that settles that. Get freaking murked. Thanks to this Dreamstone, Venom had like 3 different new modes in this magical Dreamstone personified state. It started off like this, and then it evolved to this, and then it evolved to this, so he can protect the people from Jack-O-Lantern, and then shared this same power to protect the civilians. With this, we are Venom. Isn't that epic? All because of this Dreamstone. During the Absolute Carnage event, you see some more madness from Venom. Carnage got like so powered up to the point where he was like considered on some powerhouse stuff because he had like amplifications from Noel himself, the actual god of symbiotes. That's why Carnage was so powered up. So Venom had to rise to the occasion to even be able to stand a chance with him. It even explains here that Venom is Legion. Like, one could say this is Venom, form of Venom could be called Venom Legion. An amalgamation of dozens of hosts, symbiotes, and voices, all of them screaming. So he's kind of like a fusion. This is why he's so powerful. Heck, even being able to fight Absolute Carnage himself in a slugfest style fight. Blow for blow, mano a mano, what he did to Absolute Carnage, by creating his own weapon just like that, a sword that caused all that damage to Absolute Carnage, as you can see, which is insane. So right here, Eddie was pretty high up there in the tiers. This is the famous panel I'm talking about when Venom got super strong. They even state it's basically he fuses. It's like a fusion. The codices, voices of former hosts, Captain America's voice barking orders and war strategies. Wolverine's rage ignites my blood in ancient fire. I see through Hawkeye's diamond scalpel eyes. Things ungodly strength turning my muscles to stone. That pretty much confirms that he's in the Thing level, and if you don't know how strong the Thing is, check out my other Thing video. He's got ungodly strength. There's a reason why the comic described the Thing's ungodly strength turning my muscles into stone like this. Makes sense on why Venom was able to slugfest with some Absolute Carnage, his final state. The same state that messed up Venom Hulk, like, you know, Bruce Banner Hulk. Yes, when the Hulk had a symbiote on him, he actually fought Absolute Carnage. Even though Hulk had that godlike strength, Absolute Carnage was still able to get the advantage of him and get the symbiote off of him, even get the advantage over the fight. And Venom was able to fight a version of Carnage that's even stronger than this version because it sucked up the symbiote that was on Banner at the time. So Carnage was already a Hulk tier, and then he had this symbiote added on top of it, and Venom fought this version of Carnage, which is even stronger than the one that fought a Hulk tier. Keep in mind that the Thing was in these fights as well. This was a crucial scan right here. Absolute Carnage even took over Carol's cat one time, you know, Captain Marvel. Symbiote was on her cat, and then the symbiote tried to eat her. She tried to rip it off just by pulling it with her raw strength. She even mentioned how she did this before when it comes to Venom Matt Gargan, but she can't do it this time, showing that he's on a totally new level of power. See what I mean? How she got sucked in, showing Absolute Carnage's power to that degree. You gotta respect it. Yeah, this Carnage event was crazy, man. And this is the same Carnage that Venom fought in this new state. This is Venom's most famous state, right? But these forms I just told you about are ridiculous. Like magically empowered Venom because of the Dreamstone, and then he got powered up even more by the Dreamstone. Then he got powered up even more by the Dreamstone, like I already showed you. But then he got this other power up known as Legion Venom, which was strong enough to fight Absolute Carnage, a being that gave Captain Marvel and even Hulk tier characters in strength trouble, thanks to Noel, of course, making himself have the Thing levels of strength. But what if I told you this is not even his strongest power? What if I told you he actually surpassed our favorite hero, and one could say even became like near them abstract tiers, or even surpassing Skyfather's levels of power? Which time am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about when Venom fused with the uni power, but one could say the only reason he was able to match Noel is because Noel had a weakness to light or something. So, but then again, why didn't he lose the characters like Sentry? You know, it's the uni power must be like a specific weakness to him. When Venom fused with the uni power, becoming Captain Universe, it even states here, the God of Light, the Enigma Force. But then again, part of me wants to say that he's just that freaking strong to be able to fight him, and it's not necessarily Noel's weakness to light isn't necessarily kryptonite. It could be that Venom is just that powerful thanks to the Captain Universe amp. I mean, think about it. He did end up getting Silver Surfer's weapon, or even Mjolnir, for example, like Silver Surfer's. You see him taking them both, like literally having both. Not only that, he grabs these two weapons and even fuses them together to make an even ultimate weapon. He was literally stated to be wielding a battle axe made out of Surfer's board and Thor's hammer, and he can fly. He's just powered up. Venom takes down these overpowered minions that give powerhouses issues. Even goes as far as saying no more swords, no more dragons, as the heroes are helping him fight him, of course, protecting the innocent. Him and Noel go at it. Of course, a symbiote had to take on the God of Symbiotes in this occasion via temporary power-ups. You gotta love it. Noel had a Celestial under his control like this, and the Celestial that Noel was controlling tried to attack Venom in this new state, and Venom used his battle axe with Mjolnir, of course being amped with the Captain Universe power, slices this Celestial's head off, showing Venom he's just powered up. Manhandles Noel, the same guy that decapitated Celestials in the past. Noel should be in the Skyfather ranges or even higher to them abstract ranges. Venom stabs this into him. Regardless on how you look at it, Venom is powered up more than ever before. Takes him to the sun battlefield, removes him after Noel had already been weakened, disintegrates him in the process. Also, it's worth mentioning it's implied to be faster than light, being this fast he can fly to the sun and back to Earth. You know, basically an overview of all of what he's done. Defeated Absolute Carnage, got powered up by the uni power, Silver Surfer's board, and Mjolnir was at hand, made a battle axe out of it, overpowered Noel, decapitated Celestial, defeated Noel, and it doesn't stop there, guys. When he defeated Noel, I gained his power, he stated. I became the hive-minded self, able to pilot symbiotes across the galaxy. They speak through me and I through them. Oh man. Let me try to organize Venom in his modes the best I can. The main one, which is all the way to the left, the most popular one. Then after that one, that's Anti-Venom, which is like Venom on crack with more power and being able to cure. Toxin, even more overpowered one, even above Carnage in raw power. He is magically imbued with the Dreamstone, which is not really technically a symbiote right here, thanks to Malekith and stuff. And then the one all the way on the end is a temporary power-up, something he cannot access at any time. He's confirmed to be in the Thing levels of power, confirming it even more in the video. He fought a being that just got done fighting the Hulk Venom, so it just kind of confirms that. And even giving characters like Captain Marvel issues. The powerhouse characters on the planet had trouble with Absolute Carnage, and it was implied that they needed Venom's help in this powered-up state to even do so. This Venom that's dubbed Legion Venom, pretty amped up. And that's not even the end of all of this madness, guys. That honor goes to the Unipower Venom, or some can call him God of Light Venom, the one that fought Noel himself, a being that ripped Sentry in half, literally decapitated a Celestial like I showed in this vid, overpowered Noel, and destroyed in a complete duplicate of the Necro Sword. It's pretty evident that Venom has had his overpowered moment. Legion Venom is basically on par with our favorite heroes like Hulk, Thor, and etc. Power and raw power-wise, at least in power. And then he even surpassed them with the Unipower Venom. But like, of course, these two things are not things that he's at all the time. Like, don't be going in random discussions saying, oh, Venom is stronger than Hulk. Well, no, base Venom isn't stronger than Hulk. These are like temporary power-ups that happen for this particular story, and he don't have them no more. Like, you know, it's like a temporary power-up for a reason, because if Venom was always like this, they would have to rewrite all his main stories and make him fight like planet buster threats all the time. You know what I mean? But yeah, he was pretty close to dang near abstract as the Unipower. But you didn't know about that magical form he got from Malekith and stuff, but that's none of my business. But even without any power-ups for a second, let's rewind right quick. Put some respect on the main forms of Venom's power right quick, because this is the form that's his most popular, and this is what he normally is most of the comics lore, right? Even without all them crazy, annoyingly overpowered power-ups, he's still a cool threat. He is no slouch in fighting other symbiote tier characters like Spider-Man, possessed with a symbiote from an alternate reality, for example. Even if he's armored up, he's still able to smash him against the wall with his raw strength, showing that just because you have the symbiote suit doesn't mean you automatically are above him. He's fought Spider-Woman before, eating blows from these spider-type characters. Something very common, wouldn't you admit? Oh yeah, he still lifts weights, by the way. This guy Venom in his base even had Sandman running for the hills. Like, Sandman is one of the strongest spider villains, I would say. Like a being that can like really jump tiers if he absorbed enough sand, but he had him running for the hills, losing too much mass, thanks to Venom fighting Spider-Man on this occasion. Regardless of how you look at it, you still should put respect on his name, man. He lift over hundreds of tons, has a massively hypersonic reaction speed, invisible to the spider sense. It's just, what else can you say about him? He can regenerate extremely fast. You gotta respect Eddie Brock. I'll see you guys later though.